Welcome back, everybody. Kathy Arbor here, and today is Acrylic Thursday, Mixed Media Thursday, whatever I'm doing. Just getting some tracing paper here. If you're a member of my Patreon or YouTube membership, there is a traceable downloadable for you if you want to paint along with me, or you can watch and paint later. This is what we did on Tuesday, and this is one of my orchids that we painted. And there's also a traceable for that one if you want to go check that out and try it for yourself. So today we're going to do, I'm thinking spring. It's February. This is when I start thinking spring, gardening, flowers, that type of thing. And I'm going to be using up some more of my scrapbook paper, and I'm going to be painting on this. This is a piece of paper that will fit into my file folder journal that I do, and this is 8 by 12, I believe. Yep, 8 by 12. And I just either tape this on or glue it onto my file folder page. Now you can also, if you want to do your own background, you can just paint on your file folder, whatever you're going to be using as a substrate. So I have this cute little chick. And he's got some could be bluebells. I'm not sure what it is. And I'll show you the... Now this is done in oil, but I'm going to be using a acrylics. It almost looks like campanula or campula, however you want to say it. Could be. You could make them into bluebells if you wanted to. So that's what we're going to be doing, and it's out of the book by Sherry's Brush, Sherry C. Nielsen. She's mainly oil, but you can use this for watercolor also. And maybe I'll cut it out, make a heart. I don't know. I could do that. It's kind of cute. So because I've already done my background, I'm using this as my background. I'm going to probably put on a clear coat of either matte medium, or you could also use a clear gesso, whatever you want to do. If you use a clear gesso, it does give you tooth if you want to use something other than acrylic paint. You could use pastels on it. You could use colored pencils, whatever. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. So I think what I'm going to do is put a clear coat on here of probably, let's see. I have some Liquitex clear gesso, and I'm just going to put a clear coat on, give it a shot. So if you don't want to watch me do this, you can scrub along. That little thing on the bottom there, just speed it up. I didn't have time this morning. I had other things I was doing. Hey, Lori. So I'm just going to put just a thin coat. I don't want to soak this paper too much. more in the center. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I don't need to. It's the drawing's just going to be on this middle part. There. And just give it a shot. So close your ears if you got earbuds on. Hey, Kathleen. Hey, Randy. It wasn't a really thick coat, so it shouldn't take too long to dry. This is just scrapbook paper that I'm using. So we'll just transfer it onto my page here. And I guess I could put it up a little bit. And I like to tape mine a little so it doesn't move on me as I'm drawing on it. I just use washi tape. So how's everybody doing today? Are you being creative in some way? Saw Lori today. She has a YouTube. Also, if you want to check out some more live streamers. Carol also has one. Lisa has one. So just click on their name or copy their name and put it in the YouTube search engine, and you'll find their pages. I like to use a colored pen. That one doesn't work. And now because I have my background already, I can actually draw out all of this if I want to, because I'm not doing a background. But if I were doing the background first, I would have to do the background first and then put it on. So you decide what you want to do. I have a ton of scrapbook paper, and I'm sure a lot of you all have too. And I use it for all kinds, mixed media, scrapbooks. If you're doing, I do a little bit of scrapbooking, not a whole lot. Junk journals, just use your stuff up. I do keep some that I really like, either the color combination or maybe it's got a bunch of different things on it. I find a lot of, what's it called? Stamperia? Is it Stamperia? I think it's Stamperia. It's that really nice paper everybody's getting all the time. They have some beautiful scenes and combinations of different papers together that are gorgeous. And I use those. Let's see. I'm going to get on pop out my chat here so I can see what you guys are saying on. There we go. This is going to be a fairly simple. I'm going to do a lot of, I think, wet into wet with this one, or loading my brush with multiple color. So you just have to play with ways of doing things. Not everybody will want to do it this way, but you got to try things first so you can find what is what fits you, basically. And the nice thing about acrylics, like I always say, you can fix it. Doesn't matter what you do, you can always fix it by just painting over. You could, you don't have to do these flowers. You can just do the chick if you want to just practice. Do it in your sketchbook. Practice. If you're wanting to learn how to do feathers, it's a good one to practice on. And then this tracing paper is the Sorel one, so it's non-wax. So you're able to erase it if you have lines left over after you're painting certain areas. It's good for watercolor and acrylic. Maybe I'll put some mixed media stuff on this one too. Who knows? I like just to play as I go. Something comes to mind, then I'll usually do it. Sorry about that. There's always something wants to update when you're streaming. So if you have any questions, put it in caps. I know it's a question then, and I'm able to see it a little easier than just regular chit chat on there. I won't think you're yelling at me. So just enjoy the process. Like I said, there's traceables for all the members on both Patreon and my YouTube. And you get, for the first level, you get all of the traceables from, what was it, almost 2 years now that I've had it. So there's quite a few traceables for you. And it's only, what is it, $2.99 a month? $2.99. So a cup of coffee, well, not even that. A cup of coffee's a lot more than that. If that's all you want. And then there's more tutorial videos, live streams for the other, and Happy Mail for the top level. So a print of one of my paintings you'll get, plus all the lower tier stuff, videos, everything. Plus, you're helping me in my channel to be able to do this, supporting my creativity, which is very much appreciated. I think I got everything. Yep. Okay, now I can take it off. So there it is. You can see it. Let's see. Maybe I should put that on something. I have a. Nope, I don't. Well, it's gonna. Maybe I'll just tape it down to my page here. Do I have a little one? Just looking for something to tape this down on. I don't see anything. It must be all upstairs. That's okay. So last week we did gel prints. That was fun. Actually, yeah, I'll just do this. And we did different ways of using your acrylic paint. Most gel prints that I do are for backgrounds, or if I want to do the paper piecing. Hey Doc, good to see you. Oh, I know how that feels, Lori. It's part of my MO. So when I look, this is still. When I look at something that I'm going to paint, I first like to study it. So this is where it's from. It's very cute. And I like to work from the back. So look at your painting and see how many overlaps is there. So the flowers overlap the bird. So that means I'm going to do the bird first. So I don't have to fiddle around little bits and pieces. So you want, if you didn't have the background, like you're not putting this on mixed media paper or scrapbook paper, then, and you want to paint your own, you're going to have to paint your own background first, then the bird. And I'm going to be using just craft paint for this one. And the reason why I like using craft paint, this is going to go in my file folder journal. So when you close your journal and you've used mostly artist grade acrylics, they are a little bit on the shiny side, and they will stick together and then pull bits and pieces of your paint off. So you either have to fix it with a coat of matte medium, or wax is another way you can fix it. And I believe Delta has a finish fixative also. You could use that. But I just like to use the craft paint, and I have a ton of craft paint from years ago that are just starting to go, and I need to use them up. So I'm going to use that. So with this bird, like I said, she did it in oil. But you don't you can use this for anything. So this is kind of a step-by-step here. So you kind of match your colors. And to me, it looks like it's a little bit on the golden side that they're using. Probably a cadmium medium, maybe, with a little bit of sienna in it. Craft paint marigold would probably work with a little bit of white. I also have antique gold, and this one is burnt sienna. And I have some titanium white. That should be all I need for the chick. And of course, the eye will be black. But I think I can get away with that. So, hey, Devin, Janet, good to see you. So put some of this. This is the marigold. Anything that this similar will do. Some burnt sienna. If you are doing the painting with acrylics, Artist Grade acrylics, then sienna you'll have in there, and then you can use an ochre also. Okay. Now, because it's a medium-sized area that I'm going to be painting, I'll probably do a round brush and probably a filbert. I like using both round and flats. Filbert's nice because I see there's a lot of curves in this area, so it's a little easier using a filbert with that. We have this is a number 6. Should do, and filbert. Probably use a rake also. That's a little bit smaller. Here's a filbert, and this is a number 6 also. And if you have a bristle brush, that'll work just as well as a rake brush. You just want something to give it some marks. Let's see, what can I... This is a Princeton Velvet Touch blender. They work. They're fairly stiff. You can use these as something if you want a stiffer brush to leave more of a grainier look. Or you could also use a bristle brush that's kind of ratty is what I like to use. So something that's not totally in its prime. You want something that's splayed. All right. So I just put that book up so I can see what colors they're using. And you can still get these books. I'm not sure if you can get them online now or not, but I know she does have Sherry C. Nielsen. She does have a website that you can order from. So the way I paint is with a base coat and then highlights, medium, and shadow. So when I look at a painting, I like to look at what's the most similar color that's being used in most of that. Is it the lightest part or is it darker? And also look at the layering. So these wings here are basically on top of, that'll be the last layer. So I'm looking underneath these light areas, and those are what you want to look at, because those are the things you want to put down first. The light goes on top. So I would say it's a medium. Well, I could go dark too. I'm going to go medium color. So I'm going to use this marigold color and pretty well put it all over the chick. So you can have a couple copies of your chick so you can keep it as a reference, because you will cover up a lot of these marks. You can go back over it if you wanted to also. Hey, Jen. And put them in after you've put a base coat on your chick. A lot of people do that, so just take your time and enjoy what you're doing. Sometimes yellows, though, are very transparent, so you can still see some of the line underneath that. And remember, we're going to be doing quite a few different layers to this. And I just don't want to cover up the eye at all. And this was put on some kind of plaque, it looks like a heart shape. So kind of fitting to Valentine's. So maybe I'll cut it into a heart. Put it in my book like that. I'm going to leave that area there just because it's the most dark. That'll give me an indication of where everything is too, kind of the center point of the head. So I can figure out if I don't see all my lines, at least I have that there. So I can figure it out that way. Or you could just redraw it with your pattern. So you wouldn't have to do, all of it again, just certain areas that you need. Maybe I'll do that for you guys so you can see how I go about doing that. It's a little easier than guessing. I sent you an email with my drawing if you haven't looked yet at it, Kathy. Okay, Jen, I will look at it after and email you back. Okay, That's his little tail here is all white, so I don't really need anything in there. So just enjoy the process of creating. Let's see. I might. Oh yeah, I was gonna redraw this for you. The areas that I need to know where, say, the wings are, that type of thing. So I'll dry this and then trace back some of the areas that I need. Not all of it, just where the wings are. I can pretty well look at my reference photo too, but for you guys starting out in doing painting, it's a good idea just to redraw that area with your tracing paper, so you're not second guessing yourself. That's his tail and our little butt right there. Right. Yeah, I think that'll put a little more in here, make it a little more brighter. And I think his beak is almost the same color too, but I'm going to wait for that. Like I said, yellows can be fairly transparent, so sometimes you do need to do a little bit of extra coat on there, here and there. So I hope you're having a fantastic day. The weather's cooperating for you and you're able to get something out and do a little bit of creative arting. There we go. All right. Just looking at chat, see if there's anything in caps. I'm going to dry this, so it doesn't take long for craft paint to dry. It does take a little longer for art grade type of paint. All right, so we're going to take that. Oh, let's see if I can get it lined up again. That could be fun. Let's see. Should have left this on. This might be a little bit of a headache. Let's see. Beak ends there. Oh. I might have to skip this and just wing it. If you think you're going to need to put your tracing back on, I should have done this, but I wasn't planning on it. But that might be it right there. Let's see. So I'm just going to put in his wing area. If I'm off a bit, it's not going to hurt too much. I think I'm pretty well on. But if you're doing this and you know you're going to be redrawing some parts of it, don't take it off your palette or tabletop or whatever, wherever you're doing it. But let it be able to flip back so you can remove it. But when you put it back, it'll be in the same spot. So tape both of your page down and your, I'm going to put this in here too, and your traceable. So you can just flip it back like that. Okay, that's not too bad. Let's see. Yeah, not bad. All right. Now, when we're doing this part, now this is done with acrylic or oils, so it's different. So, what I thought I would do is put on some of the dark areas first, and then we'll go over top of it with midtones and highlights. So I want the sienna color, and I want to use my bristle brush. And this is when you kind of have to dab, or because I want it kind of patchy looking because it is feathers. So there's quite a bit of, let's see, around his beak and his eye here. And I'm just dabbing. Do you want me to go in further for you to see this? Just let me know. And there's some, this is dark. And right in along his feathers are dark, like right in here. It's a little bit of a shadow. You want it in? Okay, I'll bring it in. I'm not doing a whole lot of mixing, so you probably don't need to see the palette, but I can always put the palette up if you want to see it. So a little bit along the side here. So I'm just very little on my brush. So I'm just dabbing the end of my brush basically. And like I said, if you think you got too much on certain areas, don't worry about it. It's acrylic, you can always paint over it. So a little bit there. Remember, the wings are the last thing we do, so I'm going over the edge of the wing anyways, because that's not going to hurt it. And he's got quite a bit around his beak. It's kind of dark there. Let's put a little more there. And a bit around his eye, but not right on the eye part. Leave a little bit of that yellow around the eye. Okay, I think that's good. I'm gonna get a paper towel. You don't want a really wet brush either. Yes, I am. I'm getting spring fever. February is always spring fever for me. I know that I've still got a long way to go, but this is when I start getting my gardening books out and looking at my past pictures to see what flowers were where and what I'm going to move. And it just makes me happy. All right. Now, his beak is almost the same color as the fur. So I'm just going to take this. This isn't wobbly. It's a wobbly brush, which is weird. I'm just going to paint his beak in too. It's got a little bit of the dark on it also, that sienna color. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that sienna, and there's just a little bit around right in here. Not too much water. I'm just going to dab. Kind of goes down his side of his beak. And then underneath is darker, but it's a sienna color. Like that. All right. Now we want to take that. I think I'm going to try with this brush. And we want to take some of that yellow again, but this time I want to mix and just mix a bit here of this yellow with a dab of white. I want it a little bit lighter than the marigold color. So I just made a little bit of a lighter color with that marigold and a little bit of white in it. And this is the blender brush, and it's very stiff. So you can load it up pretty good and then just wipe it. And because it's stiff, it gives you more bristle look to it. So now I want to basically concentrate on mid to light tones. It's not the lightest tone. It's just a little bit lighter than this tone here. So it'd be along the edge. I can go into the, that's a little bit, into the red part, scratch it in. They kind of have a mid, well, that's where their the crown comes out. So it's kind of like a little line on the mid portion of their head. Okay. Get back here. And I'm going in the direction that the feathers would be laying. So they'd be a little bit lighter on the backs. It's very rough. You can probably hear that. And a little bit here. Remember, this isn't the lightest part. This is kind of a medium to light, but not the lightest. Around the eye. In here. But this is actually his ear, if you're wondering. A little bit here. This goes towards the back of his head. And here. So I'm not covering everything up, just bits. Let's see. With this brush, you can press pretty hard, and it just gives you a really nice, grainy. I'm going to mix a little bit more of that up again. You can make them as fuzzy as you want. I'm just going to go in a little bit in his, where these more it's not fuzz, it's more of a actual feather. Just put a little bit of this in, trying to keep in the sections. Oh, yeah, have fun, Devin. I think we're all jealous. Have a great vacation. little bit more in here. Not worried about going past that line because I haven't done the flowers yet. So because it's overlapping him, you don't have to worry about fiddling around. You can just overlap a little bit. Just make them fuzzy. Put a little bit out there just to make them a little more fuzzier. I like fuzzy birds. A little bit more in here. Just looking a little fuzzy. All right, let's dry that. All right, so now I probably can put a little bit more of the lighter color, this light kind of mix on his tail feathers right here. Oh, even lighter. It's mostly white, but there is a little bit of a yellow hue to it. So we'll just put some of this in here. It's very, very fuzzy. Remember, we can always go back over it. If you don't like it the way it looks, you can always paint over it. Don't worry if it's not looking right. And a lot of, doesn't matter what medium you're using, a lot of times it gets done in stages, right? And a lot of times certain stages look absolutely horrid. You look at it and you're going, especially when you're new at this, you're looking at it, a lot of people just give up at that stage and think, oh my gosh, that looks horrid. And they give up. That's part of the process of finishing it. You have to get into this ugly stage, and then you start doing a little more detail, and finally the main details of shadows and highlights, and it's like it's a miracle. It's quite funny. You should take pictures of your stages, and remember, there's an ugly stage. All right, so I'm looking at it, seeing what I want to do. I might want to go in. You can go back and forth too. I'm going to take some of this marigold and maybe add a little bit more on top of that. Maybe just in certain areas, I think it needed to be a little more on the yellowy side. So it's a back and forth thing a lot of the time when you're doing feathers, fur, that type of thing. Probably be a little more underneath the wing here as a shadow. Maybe on the leg part here too. Just add a little bit here and there. I'm going to put a little bit over this. Over top of that dark area, just a smidge. It doesn't have to be that dark. But keep in mind your direction of the feathers. I would say that's one of the main things you have to keep in mind when you're doing this. All right, Carol, have a fantastic day. Work through the uglies. I got through probably that way. You're funny. Now let's do a little bit of the highlights. So it's got a lot of highlights. So most of the wing and down the front of the breast area, on the head, and down the back. And his tail's very, very white. So I'm just going to add more white. I'm not going to do white, but I want it almost white. So I'm just adding the titanium white to this mix of yellow. So it's almost white. So let's do the tail feathers. And fuzzy. And then kind of going down the center of these where the main feathers of the wings are. All right, now I'm going to take some more of that marigold color. And I'm going to go over that wet area and just brush over top of that white. Very lightly. You don't want to cover the white completely, but you want to see a little bit of grainage, like the grain of your brush, the bristle part. It's a back and forth thing. And then maybe a little bit of this sienna color too. I haven't cleaned my brush. And I'm going to go where those darker areas are. Do I have enough on? Nope. And just put a little bit of that sienna in some of those areas where it's dark. Okay, then I'm going to take that white again, maybe a little bit less, a little more medium to light color. Back over it again. You just have to keep playing with it until you like it. Okay. Let's take some more, start doing a little bit more into the other part of the body. Just look at where the lightest areas are. Like at the back of the head, there's quite a bit. A little bit on the top. Not much, but there is a little bit right up here. That crowned area. Let's see, right in here. Just keep in mind the direction. And along the back. Just along the very edge of the back area here. And along the bottom here. And in here. here. You like the flowers, Dot? All right, so I'm going to get this brush I don't like, so I'm going to get a different round. It's not wiggly. Okay, so the beak is a little bit lighter. Right on the very tip. And the line goes just down here. And the little, this is where his nostril is. Right there. And we need to put a little bit of sienna on the top here. And just kind of mixing it in. That paint is still wet of that white. And then it goes up over his eye a little bit of sienna. I'm just dabbing. I don't want a straight line or anything. But there is a little bit more color of this. It goes in his eye. It goes closer to the edge of his eye. Right there. And take a little bit of yellow, marigold color. That. Just getting the shape of the beak in. And there's a little bit of white on the top part, right in here. And a little bit of marigold over top of this, I think. I don't want it too bright. Let's see. I need a really, really, really fine brush, small, to do the line in his mouth. I could use colored pencil too. Maybe I'll do that. You know, sienna color. And there's a very thin line. Goes like that. Oh, you probably can't even see it. It is there. And actually take a little bit of on the very tip. It's a little more rounded looking. This is when I can get really crazy with detail. A little bit too pointy, I think. Let's fix it. So oops, too much water. And we'll come back to that. All right, let's do some black on his eye. I just need a smidge. I'm just going to use straight black. This is probably the only time I really use black, like true black, is in the eye. Now you can use a marker, colored pencil, whatever. It's easier. Yes, get the eye for Dot. A little bit of white right there. Okay. And I'll let that dry and we'll come back to it in a minute. Now, with the flowers, they're kind of a purple color, these ones. So I think this one, I'm going to put the darkest color. So this here, it's kind of almost a more on a grayish plum, I guess you could call it. So let's see what I got here. I guess I could use eggplant with it and maybe gray it down with a little bit of sienna. Might work. We'll see. And I'm going to use my filbert. Let's see what we get here. It's hard to combine colors when you have craft paint because you don't know what combinations they've put. So maybe I'll add a little bit of black. Let's see. I want it dark. Yeah, that works. So I'm just darkening that eggplant. So I want to, now I'm not worried about the if you want any of the feathers going over this. It doesn't show that in the photograph, the book, because I think the flowers are further away. So I'm just going to paint the flowers in. Now again, you can re-sketch this if you want. I'm just going to wing it, so to speak. And let's see. I add a little bit of white to this. And I'm not really going to completely get my paint totally mixed. I kind of want it streaky. Okay, let's mix a little more of this up. Nice dark color. And this one. And just look at your reference. You don't have to be exact with it. So if it's a little shorter, that's fine. Don't worry about that. And if you really are worried, you can just get some white tracing paper and put your traceable back on. I am not going to worry about it. Okay. So I'm just going to put all of the flowers in at once, the main coat. Now this one, a little different. This one could be in front also. So I'm not going to worry about the feathers because it's in front of this chick. It's a base coat. I'm not worrying about the stamen. I'll put that in later. And this one here. This one's fairly big. Missed a drawing of it, a line. Like that. And this one. So is anyone painting along with me? Or are you going to just watch and then paint later? Don't forget to post on Instagram, Paint with Kathy Arbor, and I'll see what you've been doing. So I'd love to see your work. I think that's it. It's just a piece of scrapbook paper, Jen. Or, yeah, Jen. And I just put some clear gesso over it. I like doing that. Sometimes I do my own backgrounds, but a lot of times I just use scrapbook paper or gel prints. All right, let's mix some of this white again. We've done all the and we'll just, let's see, this one here. This one you just see a bit of the this is just a coat, base coat. Go back over it. Put a little bit more in there to darken it. A little more white. And this one, I have to do the leaves yet, so I'm not too worried about messing up any of the leaf area because they will be over top a lot of this. So and I can always paint over stuff. Right, and then the flowers, buds. You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to dry it now. All right, now I can take the scrapper again. I'm going to take some white, and a little bit of this purple that we had, or plum. And just at the base of the petal, or I guess it's the bell, I'm just going to lighten those areas up by sweeping up from that edge. On the top, because it's curved, these bells are curved, so this curves out, and then this part here from the stem curves out. So you're going to see a little bit of a highlight right on the very top here, like that. So just go along your edges of the bells and just put a little bit of this streaking of a white, not white, but a lighter mauvey color. And then right on where it would curve from the stem. Now you can do this with a short bristle brush too. You just have to make sure it's not really wet. If it's too wet, it won't leave this brush stroke more like a dry brush. It'll be more globby looking. You don't want that. Well, this one has a little bit. I'm going to make it a little darker in the center. I'm going to let that dry. Just got to get the right consistency on your brush. Yeah, it looks like Easter. It does. All right, we'll let that dry. Let's do some little bit of green. We'll get a different palette out. This way. Now the green, I like using olive greens, that type, sap green. See. Okay, this one is avocado, is a good one to use. And I can add a little bit of black to that to darken it, or a little bit of yellow or white to lighten it. So we have a lot of very thin lines. Now you can use either a nice chiseled angle or flat shader. So this angled one, it's nice and chiseled. And I would say this is the medium green to what I'm seeing in the picture. So we're going to do that first. So I'm just going to base coat again. And I like to use this as a, on its edge. It's easier to make thick and thin lines, and use your pressure to make it thin and thick that you put on your brush. So these are fairly easy to do, and you could use your colored pencils to put all the details in if you wanted to. Oh, I can tell this brush has been in water too long. All the stuff is coming off the handle. I'm going to put one in there. You can change them up however you want. Sorry, I'm quiet, concentrating. It's very easy. Just doing a base coat. And one in there. And then this leaf here. There is a leaf here. It's a little lighter, but I'm just going to do it in the same. So it's a little serrated on the edges, kind of. Kind of looks like a geranium leaf in a way. But I'm just going to base coat it in, and then I will add the veining and change the color a little bit with highlights, shadow. But this will do. All right, and then if you notice, there is some very almost dry brushed look back there. Now I'm going to put a little bit of that in right now because I don't want to cover it up once I start doing more detail on it. You have brought this chick to it. Oh, thanks, Joan. All right, so I'm just going to, let's see, I think I want kind of a bigger brush. I'm going to water my green down just a smidge with some water. And I'm just going to do some quick it's more dry brush than anything else. Just going to go around these flowers a little bit. Once I start putting in a little bit more, take a little bit of this white yellow here and mix with it, just to add a little bit of difference in the scrub it around. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, just to fill in so it doesn't look like it's floating. You don't want it floating. Okay, let's dry that. All right, now we'll get another, this is the angle, and I'm going to get a little bit of this yellow, a little bit of this green, make a little bit of a lighter color. Maybe a bit of white too. And we're just going to make this, let's see, which way was it going? I think it was like this down to here. I think this is the way it, the veining of this particular leaf went. It was kind of lighter. Not everything was light. So I'm basically just, this is a very loose interpretation of a leaf. You don't need a whole lot sometimes, because the more, it's more about the chick than the leaves in this one. You can get really detailed if you want. But I don't think it's necessary. Let's see, a little bit more white. Sometimes the edges are a little bit lighter. Not all the time, but sometimes they are. Yeah, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. Let's start over. I think I'm going to do the rest in colored pencil of that one. Okay. Now we can take some of these longer leaves and just add a little bit of color in them. So I've just added a little bit of yellow, not too much water. You got to watch your water. In just certain areas. Make it kind of grainy looking. That would be a highlight in there because it's turned over. And maybe there. You can add all kinds of highlights and shadows. Maybe that one's crossing it. Let's cross it. Tops of the stems would be a little bit lighter on the top. Can still add shadows too. It's the main thing of a successful painting or drawing is contrast. Sometimes people are a little bit leery about adding a lot of brights or darks. So when you're just practicing like this, try it. There's nothing you're going to really lose. You're only going to learn by it. So why not play with it? Well, in your sketchbook. It's the best place to play. There it is. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of black with this green, I think, just to make some dark. This is when you can go underneath things. Just add a little bit of depth in your painting. Just keep in mind where your shadows would be. So these flowers that are kind of turned downward would be a little bit darker underneath them. Or if they're crossing one another, there'd be a shadow cast onto it. You just think about those things when you're just going to add a few more strokes in here. Why not? Okay, so I'm going to dry that, and then I'm going to take some colored pencil. Okay, so I want a fairly dark colored pencil in green. So this one here is dark green. I want it fairly sharp. Nice point. Let's see if it's going to be the right color. Sometimes that will work for me. Just want a little bit more. I could even go even darker, maybe even to black with this. So I'm going to help this out, this leaf here. Just a little bit of color in here. Show that there's veining. Nothing special really, but it does help you recognize that it's a leaf. So maybe a little, let's see, there's a little bit of highlight there. Maybe we'll make this a little bit more shadowed along the midrib of the vein of the leaf. Give a little bit of depth. Separate some of these. I always like, in a lot of my paintings, I'll put colored pencil. Sometimes even marker. I know you're not supposed to use marker, but I do. I just make sure I rub off the marker when I'm playing with it over top of acrylics. Okay, and then a light green. Let's try this one. Yeah, that'll work. Adding a little bit of more highlight. It just, I really like colored pencils because I have more control for finer detail. That's why I like using them. That's why I call my stuff mixed media, basically, because I do use a lot of this type of thing, or sometimes even pastel. It's just fun. All right, and let's see, maybe let's play with these flowers a little bit. I think I need a little bit more. I can find a color that's similar to that color I have. It's kind of a, oh, that's not bad. All right, yeah, that'll do. I want a little bit more color streaking, I guess you could say. In some of these areas you don't really see. Let's see if this one will work. No. Just play with stuff until you find the right one. Let's see. This one isn't even sharpened. It's not a very good one. Oh, I didn't sharpen it. It's not centered. Oh well. Make some streaks in the bells. give it a little bit more interest. And a little bit of shading where the petals separate. You have to think about the direction of the streaks too in flowers, because they do go in a certain direction. Just adding a little bit more detail. So if you've followed me on YouTube long enough, you know that's my favorite thing to do, detail. All right. White. Blend that in a little bit. Soften it. Okay. Just give this guy a little bit of a shine on the bottom there. And he has a little bit of a ring. They have an eyelid that's a little bit lighter around the edge of the eye. And then, where did I put that? Sienna. And then there's a little bit of sienna in here, just around the edge of that white. This is what I like to do. I love detail. And maybe a little bit wings. Here's a midrib. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to do that with Posca. There is a midrib on those little feathers on his wing. And you just take your finger and dab them a little bit so you don't see the start. And I'm gonna add a few little highlighted ones in here. that. And I need to do the little stamens in the flower. And actually, I'm going to lighten just a little bit along the edge. Some areas. So it isn't completely dark there. There is a little bit of highlighting in here. So just with a little bit of lighter colored pencil. That's the nice thing about craft paint too, is that it's got tooth. So you're able to do this. I'm not pressing very hard either, so it's kind of nice to be able to use your colored pencils. And let's see if we can get a yellow in there. Might have to use I might have to use a marker, but there is a little, see, little stamens. Yeah, it's not bad. Not all of them have it, but some of them do. Ah. Hey, Lena, good to see you. Yeah, isn't he cute? I love chicks. I like doing them. Not. I thought there might be a hole in his beak, but I don't see anything. So I think I'm just going to add a few little grass things in here. I think I'm done. I could play with this forever and ever and ever. But I think it's good. So Lamise will sign it. Today is the 10th. Now, one thing I might put on here, I've been playing with my laser jet printer. And what was his name? There was an artist that I've been watching. He's new, fairly new, and he has been playing with laser prints. And he makes his own faux rub-ons. So I thought I would try it, and it worked. Now you have to print them backwards, though. That's the only thing. So okay, so I printed, this is what I printed. February, and some letters and stuff. This was just to try it out. So I printed it on here backwards. Now all you have to do is put a piece of matte medium, a little smear of matte medium down on here, and put this down on it. So I thought we could try that for here. So a little bit of matte medium here. I'm just going to put it right. Oh, is that stuck? Yes, it is. Because I didn't close it. Let me see. There. Oop. You don't want a lot of water on your brush, so make sure your brush is squeezed out as much as possible. Okay, I'm going to put it right here. And I should cut it out first. Let's cut it out. I'll show you what else I figured out too, which is kind of cool, using my laminator. But it worked. Okay, so there's the February. Better put a little more on there, just in case. Okay. So hopefully this is straight, but if it's not, oh well. So I push it down. Take a scissors, burnish it. Now because, let's see, I'm not sure if I have to, I don't remember what he did. This is sticker paper, like the backing of sticker paper. I have to let it dry. Oop. So let's dry it. Hopefully I have enough stuff on it. I think I do. And the sticker paper won't stick to it because it's got that backing on it, I hope. Doing it? Yep. And there it is. And it comes off the sticker paper. Now I messed up because I moved it. But, and there you get it. So you can do this with anything. If you wanted a drawing that you drew on, you can put it on sticker paper. So find your, don't throw this stuff out. This would also work with the palette paper probably. So what you do is, if you have it has to be a laser print though. You can't do this with inkjet. It doesn't work. Because when you put an inkjet on the sticker paper, it beads up. And it doesn't take much to smear it. See, I can put my hand across this and it doesn't come off. Whereas the inkjet, it would come off. Now I have done it with inkjet, but it like I said, it pools. So it's best done with an inkjet. So what you do is you set your ink or your laser printer on anywhere from the quality up from middle to high, and depending on your printer, mine I had to print manually, so I had to feed this in manually. It was a different slot, so it was hand fed manually. That way, for some reason, it prints on it that way. It wouldn't print properly. It was kind of blotchy when I tried to do it in the paper tray. So if you have a laser jet print that has a manual feed also, use that. Also, where is it? Where did I put it? I was playing until I find it in here somewhere. I'm always playing with stuff. See if what happens if. No, I know I dropped one down. I just saw it a minute ago. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Also, print out on your laser. It has to be a laser again. Anything that you want. Letters. I did just the same thing. Some words and numbers. And then I got the foil. Like, you know, this foil that everybody went crazy about. The foil quill and all that stuff. And they got all these, it's the heat reactive foil that you need. So after you get your laser print, then get a piece of newspaper, take that print that you made from your laser jet or printer, and wrap it around your paper that you just printed out. Then put it through your laminator without the laminating sheet, just a folded over piece of paper. It doesn't have to be newspaper. It could be any kind of paper, but just one on top and one on bottom. And the reason why I fold it is then it keeps it secure from moving. You don't want 2 or 3 separate pieces of paper on top of each other. You want one folded, so when you're feeding it into your excuse me, your laminator, you're feeding it in with the folded edge into the laminator first. And what happens, you put the foil over top of your paper that you just printed. Then you wrap it and you put it through your laminator. The foil, after coming out of your laminator, will only go on the print from your laser jet. And this is what happens. This is foiled now. So the heck with using our quill pens. Just laminate the stuff that we print out. We don't have to worry about all that. Then you can cut them out. And you could do this on any kind of paper. Print on any kind of paper. You could even do this on scrapbook paper, probably. And then cut them out with a fancy cutter for words or whatever. And then if you want them foiled, there it is. And what I'm thinking of doing too is I want to try this. You haven't done it yet, but I'm going to try and put some on tissue and put it through. See what happens. Yeah. So if you're one that wants, letters or whatever, you could use this instead of going out and buying all of it. I wonder if that would also transfer. I was thinking of that, Michelle, but the way you have to put your foil on top of the laser print, it has to be, it wouldn't work because if you have to go like this, so your foil would be reversed. So your foil would be against the paper instead of face up. If you understand what I mean. So it wouldn't work. I actually thought of that and I thought, oh man, that has to be on the bottom layer. It's like jelly printing. I think the foil would be, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought about that. But still, a lot of us use wording. You remember the stickers that we use from the sticker books and stuff like that? Well, here we go. We've got our own lettering. Just make up your own sayings and cut them out. Paste them onto your page. No point in buying the sticker books for words and stuff. You could do your own. You want them fancy with lettering? Here you go. You could even, it doesn't have to be just letters. Like these little drawings down here, they work too. Depending on, how you want them. But I think it was a cool idea. And I love that. Because it's see-through now. And all you have to do is just put a coat of matte medium over top of this. And you'll never know it was put on separately. Yeah. Great idea for journaling, diary type things. You got your numbers, you just cut them out with a hole punch type of thing. Foil will only stick to the black toner ink. Yeah, exactly, Joan. Although, not necessarily true. I did. I don't know if it's down here. I did put one of my jelly plates through, and it did take to the jelly plate. Actually, there's one. I will put some foil on that and see what happens. Just hold on. I just have to warm up the laminator, and then we'll play. We'll do this one, see what happens. But I did one that, now it had more white space on it, but it did work. So, not sure where I put it. Oh, there's another one I did on black. I printed on black. Oh, here it is. So I took some of it. That was on gel print. Oh, well, I hope you feel better, Michelle. So yeah, it works on gel prints. That didn't go through the printer. That's just paint. But I printed on top of black through the printer and then just put it through the laminator, and that was really cool. I really like this. I think that looks really cool. Not fussy. Well, it's okay for the white, but I think the black looked nicer. So yeah, then you just cut them out, use them. Let's just try one. Just for the fun of it. This is some of the stuff I use. So, okay, I used a bit of this one, but okay, this one's got a little bit more raised. So let's put this, now you have to put it down like this so that the sparkly side is facing you. And then I just take a piece of paper, newspaper, yeah, we'll put it in like this, I guess. Like this. Fold it over. And this side goes into your laminator. So I'll be right back. It's working. Almost done. Takes a while. Oh, paper stuck to my, oh no. Okay, let's see. Hopefully this didn't all stick. It might have. Nope. Well. Now, it didn't stick to certain parts, but if you want kind of a blotchy look, it's kind of cool. Now you could probably play with it, gel print, and leave white paper showing. So maybe just do a stenciling of one thing on it and then put it through. Then you would just get the foil sticking to the paint. But I think it's fun. I think it's a neat idea. But I really, really, really like it for this. I have a ton of black paper. Now I know what to do with it. So play with your things. See what you can figure out. I think it's fun. So I guess I'll leave you guys with this. And hope you get a chance to get your sketchbook out or your paints or your colored pencils and just get a cup of coffee and get creative. So I'll let you guys go and we'll see you next week on Tuesday and have a fantastic weekend and just get in that creative mode. We'll have a great day then and we'll see you later. Bye for now, everyone.